I think the seriousness of that question is maybe you don't fit into the typical mold of a PAP MP as an activist, right? So why do you choose to join the PAP? Don't you think that's a form of co-optation to have you within, so that you won't do as much damage outside? And then, but surely you have made all these calculations and you think it's wiser to be in. So what were the calculations that, if you don't mind sharing, what was the calculation that you...
Ken, I mean, I'll share the story, and I think if you look at me in Parliament, do you think I've been co-opted? With the kind of things that I raised, and even the last few days. It's a long story, but it really started in 2008. When Minister Shanmugam was the guest of honor at the Acres Gala dinner, and delivered my speech, came down, sat beside him, and he started that process, that journey of... He asked me, and I always remember that, tell me what obstacles you face, and let's try and work together and within to try and change some things. And quite infamously, he called me to his office and said in that one-liner, all the way to his office, he said that one-liner, Louis, you cannot just help animals, you have to help humans as well. And with that, I was co-opted into his Meet the People session, where I started volunteering there in 2008. And I saw that I could have an impact in not just helping the lives of animals, but the lives of people as well. I saw that through working from within, I could still confront, which is what I've done in Parliament, keep confronting the issues, but not just confront and be confrontational, but to be constructive and to collaborate. And I found that worked. That it could work, effect policy changes a lot more faster than my good old young days of being extremely confrontational, getting a lot of media publicity, but actually very little things done. And that was the turning point for Acres as well in 2008, where we focused a lot more on trying to collaborate. Still, as you know, with Acres, still criticize constructively. Even after I journey into politics, I still took on resorts well, and that fight still continues today. But I found value in starting work at the policy level, and it was Minister Shanmugam that approached me to enter politics, and with the PAP.
Right. So, can I push back a little on the idea that when you were vocal, you didn't achieve much? Don't you think that you need those people so that the ones who are not as vocal, they can be legitimized? So you need people who are more, not extreme, but people who are more confrontational, so that the people who are not as confrontational become the moderates. And then the government has to work with these people. Without those confrontational people, the moderates become the confrontational, because it's all relative, isn't it? Don't you think there is a space for all sorts of activists, as long as you do not advocate violence or treasonous? Don't you think there is a space for all versions of activism?
Absolutely, and I came from that space. I mean, I was deep in that space, and I found value in it, and I still find value in it. I mean, we meet up with a whole wide variety of activists, whether I agree with them or not, even on some of the issues, whether I agree with them or not, I raise it in Parliament. Because I believe that it's not about what I support or what I agree on. It is people's voices should be heard. And I mean, many people ask me that, do I agree with everything I raise? Absolutely not. But I feel as an MP, I'm the bridge, not the filter.
Right.
That I should be the bridge for people's voices.
Right.
So am I passionate about some of the issues I've raised? I'm not. I mean, but I think it's important in my role to make sure that these issues where people are marginalized, they get raised. Some of these issues, I mean, I never thought about before I became an MP. I learned along the way, and I realized again that there's this critical need for the vast majority of issues I bring up, unfortunately, have never been brought up. It's a pity, and that's why I want to make sure that all these different issues, as controversial as even speaking up for sex workers, I would speak up for them in Parliament.
Right.
And that's why I shared the recent story of the sex worker. I mean, given a chance, she's got straight A's in her first semester of diploma. That's something that, again, we should embrace in Singapore. Everybody should have that fair chance.